There once was a TV show on HGTV called Your House is Worth What? So if you've been wondering how much your home is really worth, don't trust just any online estimate. In this video, I'm going to show you an easy and accurate way to value your home in about 10 to 15 minutes. So whether you're thinking of selling or you're just curious, this method is going to help you to avoid costly mistakes. Determining the value of your home can be a daunting task, especially with the varying estimates that exist on Zillow and Redfin. And so often individuals will come to me and they said, I'm ready to sell my home. I've been looking, this online platform, that online platform. They vary in cost or they vary in value. The house varies in value according to those online platforms. And I don't think any of the values are correct. Well, guess what? Knowing how much your home is worth, first and foremost, is almost the number one necessity in order to actually sell your home. It's crucial to being able to move on even to your next property and or to do any of the other things that you want to do in life. So it's crucial. It's vital. So why leave it to chance? Your house is worth what? We're going to determine what it is, how to get access to that, whether you want to buy, sell, or you're just curious. I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process to actually help you determine your home's value more accurately than just relying solely on those estimates. So Zillow versus Redfin, which one wins? Which has a better algorithm than the other? Well, I'm not here to judge that today, but I am here to talk about whether or not you should just rely solely on those as an estimate. So let me give you an illustration so that we can see why this is so crucial. So we have a home over in Washington, D.C., and it's in the Northwest area. And the value, and we're going to use Columbia Heights, and the value is at $735,000 when you look on Redfin, or excuse me, when you look on Zillow, $1,000 on Zillow. When you look on Redfin, the value is $750,000. Okay, that's a pretty varied discrepancy, and it shows why it's so important for you to understand how to properly value your home. So let's dig a little deeper. One of the things that you definitely need to know and understand is real estate market trends and real estate comps. So oftentimes people talk about the comps, the comps, the comps. Okay, fine. But what are the real estate market trends? And depending on the different platforms, their algorithm is going to vary. And so those things that they're going to pull in will vary. So those are some of the reasons for the discrepancy, the algorithm. Also, the data points that they use to calculate the home varies. But does that vary in the real world with us as realtors? No, it's not as subjective as one would think it is. It's, apples to apples and oranges to oranges. So while these tools, I'm not saying they're completely, of no value, they're helpful, but they don't always account for those local factors. They don't always account for the recent renovations in a home or hyper local trends that are going on. And in some cases, you may need to really know these things if you really truly want to determine the value of your home. And in all cases, when I value a home as an agent, as an associate broker, I always take those things into consideration. So by using these reliable methods that I'm going to be bringing out here today, it can help you to value your home as you navigate the waters prior to you calling me and saying that you're ready to list your home for sale. So let's look at some of those local comps in the market for Washington, D.C. for that particular property, just to gain a clear picture of the market. So we're not going to talk about actual addresses. We're not doing that. But again, we're in Columbia Heights. It's a row home, and it is valued at $735 on one platform. It's valued at $750 on another platform. So the first step we're going to do is actually research these comps. So we're researching the subject property. When we're looking at the subject property, there is in a vibrant community in Columbia Heights. And see, now that's key because Columbia Heights as a whole is a bustling community, lots going on, lots of development going on. But in the city, sometimes our values can truly change block to block. And it's also a community that offers a lot of historical charm. So, what are some of the properties in and around it? What have they done with the facades of their houses and keeping that historical factor? And, what are some of those other ones offer? All of those things are necessary when you're actually valuing the home, not just looking at the area itself, but being very specific because of the fluctuations that can happen. We also want to look at, like we said, those real estate market trends to really understand the context of what's going on just very close to your particular property. So now that we have that in mind, we want to get into what are the interior features in this property. So in this subject property, we had hardwood floors, we have updated kitchen and appliances, finished basement. All of these things, of course, are extremely desirable traits. But there were also some things that were dated. There were older homes, there were older fixtures, the roof had not been replaced. So those are key factors that play intrinsic part in properly valuing your home. Because when you're looking at that next home, if it has the hardwood floors, the updated kitchens, the appliances, but it's also updated the little things like the fixtures inside of the property, or the big things like the windows, like the roof, that actually increases the value even that much more. So by analyzing all of those different conditions, and you can better understand how much your house is worth compared to other properties in the neighborhood. So when we did that, and I looked at other properties that were similar on Redfin, there were several homes that they showed up on Redfin that had sold within the last 6 months. There was a nearby property that had sold for $745,000. And in looking at these real estate comps, it really helps you to determine the fair market value, because remember, we're also looking at the market trends, but we're looking at also the specifics inside of these comps. And again, we're looking at what are all the things that have been done inside of that property. So remember that sometimes you're not going to have all the information that we have available to us as professionals, but you have pictures, you have somewhat of a description. So you can use some of those things as an estimate to get a gauge as to, well, where does my property fall in relation to this particular property, and taking those very specific data points into consideration. And so from that, you're able to do an analysis of the property, and you're paying attention with a very keen eye to the condition and the updates that have gone on in that particular property. When we looked at that sold property that was very near to our subject property, it had a remodeled kitchen, which could contribute to a higher sales price. And if let's say that your kitchen, you remodeled it, but let's say that you remodeled it 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, how much is it dated in respects to what individuals are looking for today in a remodeled kitchen? And then how worn is it? So those are things, again, that you want to use as you are determining the true value and the difference in your home versus homes that are there on the market. But we also talked a lot about market trends. What does that mean? Market trends speak to what is going on as far as the development is happening in the area, not just your property, not just the property next door, but the overall development and the trends in the area. Is it an area where we're seeing a lot of revitalization for retail, for commercial, even as a business hub for jobs to be coming in there? That largely adds to the appreciation to the property. And so in Columbia Heights, as far as our market trends are concerned, we were able to see that there's a very strong real estate demand, because those properties in the $700,000 range. And again, now we want to get specific to not just the area, but now we want to look specific to what the value of your home is, where you think it falls. And everybody has a pretty good bead on where they feel that their home falls as far as value is concerned. So when you're looking at the value of your home, and okay, it falls in the sevens, it falls in the eights. When we looked at the value of the homes there in Columbia Heights that fell in and around the $700,000 range, well, we had a year-over-year appreciation of 5%. So that means that those homes are extremely attractive. There's a very high demand for them in Columbia Heights, and it's a great investment. And so that means, too, that your buyer pool is larger, that there are individuals who are seeking a home like the one that you own. If you perhaps owned a home that was in that $700,000 range there in Columbia Heights. So that's what we mean when we talk about market trends, and that's so important to take a look at. But another key factor is amenities. They play a significant role in valuing a property. So our subject property was close to the Columbia Heights Metro. Our subject property was close to some of the more popular parks there in Columbia Heights. And so it was also close to local shops and restaurants. And so, the walk score was good. So those things are amenities that are attractions, but they also increase the value of the property. So if you have a property that's there in Columbia Heights and maybe it's not as close to some of those amenities, then the value, you might see it decrease, even though maybe it has more updates than your property does or the subject property does. So those are things that you definitely have to take into consideration. So searching for homes in the DC area, it shows that there is, they're definitely influenced when you look at their price points. They're definitely influenced by these factors. And the last factor that influences the value of a property is the schools. So in the DC area, especially if you have a school that is higher rated, you can look at places like niche.com and some of those other wonderful websites that rate our schools, and you can see what their rating is overall on a national basis, maybe on a local basis, looking at them as charter schools, private schools, public schools, and where they range. And when you look at that and you do that analysis, you recognize that it definitely not only enhances the property's appeal, now you also have a, a broader buying pool. And in so doing, you have an increase in value because let's face it, if it's a family, and many families move into Washington, D.C. every single day, they enjoy an urban environment. Perhaps they work downtown, perhaps they work with the federal government, whatever the reason is, they like city living, but they want to ensure that their children have the best access or the access to the best schools. So they prioritize being near good schools. And so analyzing those school ratings and looking at where your home is and proximity to that definitely does add to or detract from the value of your property. So what's my prediction? My prediction is that Washington, D.C. market, it's going to continue to heat up. The homes are going to continue to increase in value as time goes on. And so even when our interest rates were really high, and we saw a leveling and a cooling in certain places for, even during I hate to say it, but dating myself, yes, I was there through the Great Recession. Even during that time, DC was one of our markets that continued to thrive, continued to grow, continued to be in hot demand. And we continue to see a very strong buyer pool. So the prediction is that it will continue to be that way. So and especially as things are happening in the DC metro area over these next 6 months, the change in government and things like that is going to bring in even a greater flux of incoming buyers. If you've been thinking about, I'm ready to move out of the city, or I'm ready to downsize, or whatever your reason might be for wanting to sell your property, now might be the time that you want to really act and capitalize on the fact that there is continued development that's going on and continued growth. But those are the things that you're going to use to help to value your property. Listen, why leave valuing your property to guesswork? Click the link below for a personalized home valuation and see exactly how much your property is worth. Yes, I've given you great tips on how to value your home, and that just takes you a step further. You click the link below. You don't have to talk to me. You input your information, and now it gives you the same data points that I'm going to be using and, to be able to value your home. And then it'll give you that on a month over month over month basis. So you never have to guess again about what's my home truly worth or my house is worth what. So, and then as I always say, perhaps you are ready and you're like, Natalie, I'm ready, but I really need to know whether or not I am at 750. Am I at 850, 900? Where exactly is the value of my home? Well, those are things that I named, and even more are the resources and the tools that I use to actually properly value your home. because just because your home is located in this particular area doesn't tell me overall what the value of your home is. I'm going to get extremely specific in being able to give you that. And even if you've decided once you receive that, okay, I'm not ready right at this moment. Well, now that I have helped you to appreciate where the value of your home is in respects to the rest of the market, and you have this tool working for you, as you continue to get updates of your home, you continue to see exactly the pace of where your home is going. So, all the way around, it's a great metric to use, and it's a phenomenal tool and it works in your behalf. But please, if you've enjoyed this, which I know you have, I know you found value from it, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so that you're notified on a daily and weekly basis as I update this channel with the news that you can use right now to make phenomenal decisions as you navigate the real estate market in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. As always, I appreciate you being along for the journey, and I wish you a phenomenal day.